Hey everybody, Sebastian here from Collie Poker. I'm excited to be bringing you another video. I had the pleasure of having Clanty on the channel. He and I decided to play a friendly little heads-up match. So you'll be able to see us playing each other and get both perspectives in real time. In addition, we discussed some of the hands that we played together after the fact. I ran very, very good in this heads-up match. So if you enjoy seeing Clanty suffer, then you'll probably enjoy this video.
All right, battling Clanty, no big deal. 9-7 off would be tiny frequency 3-bet. This time we'll call.
Yeah, like you've made that nice sizing. That's what I want to be able to do. This is a check on this roll.
Okay, so here we have to be careful how many hands we fire. We have a lot of weak hands. But yeah, 9 high on this river. I'm going to play block. I mean, I could overbet as well.
King 5 just seems like a mix between call and fold. Don't think raising's very good. I'd rather have 5 of spades than 5 of diamonds here. I'm going to like to fold.
I'm not going to show too much info.
6-5-5 also pretty good. I'm going to bet this one. I think it's basically range bet twice here because of the 5-5 is very good for us. A lot of the 5x is raising pre-flop from our position. Much better than if it was 6-deuce-deuce or 6-6-5.
I think he's quarter potting range, so I'm not going to play any leads on the turn.
Definitely check turn here. Very polar c-bet spot as well. The paired ace high Badoogie board. Really shouldn't be many c-bets from me.
So here my hand is very, very good. I think we can even overbet. I mean, any ace is worth the same amount, but I'll still overbet.
Less so versus the sizing. I don't block anything with the queen now, apart from the queen 5. I don't block the ace queen or anything. But yeah, suits are pretty good, blocking queen 5 and 3-5, although the queen suit doesn't matter at that point. Would rather have... But then queen 10 would block a bunch of random bluffs to 10 high bluffs, so you wouldn't fold and flop always, because of the Badoogie nature. And the ace, yeah, I'm going to stick this one in as well. It's like a bit curious here. Okay, you do go really big with the chop. Okay, because I saw at the end that the ace is chopping, so I didn't think you would go super greedy. He, I'm not sure what I'd be saying. But nice hand. There's a thin value bet, but I think it's good. I need to retop up.
Pressure him on every board. I like that. Except for on table 2.
Actually sizing up on this board, but I don't think King 7 really wants to bet much at all. I'm just going to skip this c-bet here. Don't like it. We'll choose other hands, like Jack 7, less showdown. Seems like a very good bluff on turn now, though. King 7, just calling. My flush draw is not that live if I raise, so I think it's just a call from me. And I think I'm just calling the... It's a nice river.
Oh, that is not the river. That is not the river. That is not the river. Let's check raise here.
Easy bets. We're betting a straight or better here, so naturally you want to overbet.
And this is nice. I mean, I look like I'm trying to bluff chops. I don't think he has many flushes after he checks back. Even strong players are not going to find them enough. Yeah, it's just tempting to get curious here. Because like I could just do this with every 2 cards, potentially.
So I get it. He's just saying that I don't have the flushes, right, with the check back flop. But I also think the bluffing range would just bluff. Like, if he's bluffing with a spade, I think he just bluffed through himself now. So I don't think he's got enough bluffs there. I think this just looks like a trap.
Okay, finds the fold.
All right, GG's Clanty. How does it
Yeah.
feel
Was
just
was
running
it was
into
it
it?
was it was it GG's? I don't
It was
think it was
GG's for
GG's.
me. It was GG's
GG's for
for
one
me.
of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. GG's, man. GG's.
Well, I did just kind of have the best hand every time, although it is kind of cool. One of the things about heads up is it's so swingy that it's cool to see a strong player on the bad end of variance too, because keeping your cool and not making like really crazy adjustments, I think, is a big part of surviving long term as well. And yeah, you were still felt pretty sticky and willing to fire, even just infinite in the hole after 2 seconds. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we flagged a couple of hands here, and we'll kind of talk about them and interlace it with the recording of us playing. So we're gonna start, I guess, with this one where I played the hand badly. I think it's fair to say, at least on the river. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are. Yeah, maybe we can just start with the flop and take it from there.
So this board texture, if I'm right in saying, is one of the few board textures that, despite it being monotone, you actually use a larger sizing on. That's why I was doing it in game. So I was going to be going about 60% or 3 big blinds. And I had King Heart 7, which I'm sure viewers can see. And I checked every time, didn't want to bet this one. I think you probably can bet it, I just chose not to. I don't want to... yeah, I just have like certain hands that I like betting more than others. On the turn, I think your bet is very, very fine. I think my call is very, very fine. I don't think I'm supposed to raise. Could be wrong. And then... yeah, are you agreeing with that? Any discussion there?
Oh, no, yeah, I think that yeah, King 7 is probably the bottom of a hand that could show down river and check. So no need to start bluffing it on the flop. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And also I have the 7 of spades, not the king of spades, so I didn't want to start turning a hand like that into a bluff. It feels like my equity plays better in the passive line. And on the river, my main discussion here was just very much exploitative against a human, which is that the check shove bluffs are very, very attractive c-bet bluffs. And I think, yeah, it feels like a little bit of a free roll, like a mental free roll, in the sense of, let's just say you've got 9 spade 8, okay, blocking the 8-7, blocking the flush. I don't think humans take that into a check shove. I think they just put it in. I think they just dump it into a bet, and if they lose, then they lose, right? How can they not bluff that hand anyway? So yeah, I ended up making a pretty big fold, I think, although it doesn't feel that big, to be honest with you. I think it's a good adjustment. Now I did like fold the same hand, but at the same time, I think Queen 7's only good if you know the guy is, making big folds. Which I think from that session is, you didn't know that I was making a lot of big calls, if anything. So yeah, and also because I am playing the B60 on the flop, I am playing polarized, so I am going to have 7-8. I am going to have spades, like 2 spades in my check back range. So I think this is, in my opinion, quite a bit too thin to shove. Quite a bit too thin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one thing that's doing a lot of work here is just going out on a limb and inferring, like, you're a very strong player, and it's easy to level yourself into compensating for that. But on the river, I was just going to kind of say, okay, I'm just going to go out on a limb and assume that he's not checking back enough flushes on the flop. Like, that tends to be a good rule of thumb, and I was just not going to deviate from that. And if it was wrong in this instance, that was fine.
It probably is right as well. Like, I think I do a decent job at trying to protect my ranges, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that I don't check back enough flushes. So I think that assumption is correct. Yeah.
And yeah, this is actually one of the spots where I think I could improve a lot, which is on turn, like especially if you're in position. I think I have a very clear thought process a lot of the time that can be boiled down to 5 words, like and if they're solid, like 5 words. But river, when you're trying to decide between block, probe larger, check raise smaller, check raise all in, and all of them seem viable, I usually get as far as, will my opponent reopen enough to justify check raising? And it's difficult to think about, if I probe a medium size, will they raise enough that I can 3-bet? If I check raise, will they call enough? If I check raise smaller, will they 3-bet all in? It becomes too difficult of a problem to solve for me in game when you have value out of position on the river. And I don't really know how to streamline that process. And it clearly led to a mistake here, where I felt, I didn't factor in what you just said, which is that my natural bluffs would just bet river. I thought instead, this is a chop board. Aggressive players love to go after chop boards. If I check, he's probably going to bet. And then I thought, this is a chop board. Aggressive players like to go after chop boards, so I'm just going to jam my hand and hope that he heroes.
But you would, yeah. So I think that logic is good. The problem is that it just doesn't check out with the bluff side, right?
Yeah.
Because your bluffs would just short circuit a little bit. They don't consider the check shove opportunity. So it's a tricky spot, to be honest, and I think I might also fall victim to a similar logic. Even though you show me the same hand, I still think that calling is a pretty torchy play from me, because if we assume that you only ever shove a 7 or 7-8 or a spade or 2 spades, it's surely a losing call, because I'm calling a lot to only get back half, right? Assuming that you're not bluffing.
Yeah.
Which is, because I wasn't even thinking, by the way, that you're shoving a 7. So at that point, it's I think my fold is also good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think?
Do I mind your fold?
Do you think that my call, let's say I did call, would make money against you? I wonder. Like in the way you played the river, do you think King 7's profitable or not profitable? King Heart 7 spade.
On average, probably not. I would probably need to get to the river with a hand that was interesting enough that my brain started to work in a slightly less linear way. For example, if I got to the river with the King of Spades in my hand, or even the Ace of Spades, probably the King of Spades, and thought to myself, maybe Clanty will be even more confused if I check jam this hand. But if I just have something that's sort of garden variety, it's probably not going to spark for me. If I have 9-8 with a spade or something, I think you're right that I'm just going to default to the instinct of, well, usually if I get called, I just chop, so time to bet. And not take
And I
much
don't think you would. I don't think the Ace Spade is actually a very good bet on turn as well.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah. Wait, on the turn, why not?
These low boards are not as good as you think they are compared to 6 max, I think. So like if this is like a big blind versus button in 6-handed, it's probably just a range lead or close to it. But in heads up, this is actually quite a polarized situation, because I've got all the low hands as well. So you're supposed to probably size up a bit on the turn, or you can go with the small sizing, but you're actually still supposed to check a lot. So the Ace Spade doesn't accomplish much, in my opinion.
Right, it's sort of like unclear if it's value betting or bluffing, I guess.
It's better in a more depolarized situation. I think you probably thought 6-3 deuce 5 is better than what it was, if that's fair to say. In heads up.
I mean, I'm aware that the range interactions are a bit different in heads up. So I was more just thinking on the turn that I certainly wouldn't be betting range or anything like that, but I figured that if I have 2 pair or something like that, those hands would still want to bet, and when any 4 is a straight and it's monotone, I'm just not going to use a very large size. It was more to do with the monotone nature of the board than to do with the low nature of the board that I picked the sizing.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be like a rage bet or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, truthfully, I wasn't totally sure. But yeah, I don't really usually play large sizes on monotone. And this like you mentioned that this board was a bit different on the flop, but that wouldn't be something that was registering for me. Yeah, I would have expected if someone asked me what sizing you'd use on this flop, I would have said quarter. It would have been my guess. So basically just on the river, I got part of the problem right, which is that you will reopen quite a bit, I think.
but
Mm,
no, maybe
yeah,
not.
yeah. I think I will for sure. Especially against humans. I don't think I'm gonna get check shoved. But I don't know if I mean, I think I bet a lot, but I also don't know what the solver does either. So maybe it's just kind of those situations where I'm just adequately aggressive. I don't think I would be going too out of line, to be honest
Mhm.
with you, because my EV needs to be more than half the pot, right, or something close to that. So um, that's already quite expensive. You know, if I've got some random five, let's say, that I spiked on the turn, I think I just take my check, to be honest with you.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. Um, well, so that's one piece that makes the river check bad for me, and then the other piece is that what happens when you face a check raise, and it's hard to. It's a few too many problems to solve at once. I often find. I usually just get as far as will they reopen. Um, yeah. So do you just simplify that by just kind of asking what your range wants to do and not thinking too much about those exploitative concerns when you're considering delaying on river, or how would you break down a problem like this?
For out of position or in position?
For out of position. Um, yeah.
So like in your situation where you've got the opportunity to see bet,
Yes.
um, I think I would be more concerned about what my range wants to do and less about what I think they would do.
Mm-hmm.
So in your case, I think this is a pretty great river for you because you've got more sevens in them, I presume, and you've got more flushes, etc. So I think it's just like a pretty high frequency bet board. I think you're supposed to have some small sizes and some big sizes because the small size is kind of betting small to realize half the pot, and half the pot's even bigger than the bet size anyway. So I think I'm more tunnel visioned on that more than I am about if they over reopen or under reopen
Sure.
in this
Okay.
exact situation.
Cool.
Because I don't think humans are deviating much. If I felt strongly about the imposition player doing something weird, then I would consider that more. But I don't think if I see 6-3 lose 5-4, anything stands out to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Five's very good hand. Just gonna bet on this board.
Queen 8 facing B40, like 1 in 4 raise, 1 in 3, something like that. Seems good. Queen of Hearts seems like a nice check call with exactly Queen of Hearts here. Do I think this is bluffed enough for the time, though? I guess in this game, yes. So we'll check it.
Honestly, is my hand good enough to value bet? I think no. I would bet an 8. But yeah, I'm not gonna bet fives here.
Queen of Hearts is a very good barrel card for him, so now I'm typically unblocking the bluffs. Nice hand. 5 seems very standard. Would have got called if I went 1/3 there.
That's just pretty hilarious that I put in money ahead on every street and then checked as soon as it was.
Ace 9 I will sometimes bet. It's actually a value bet on this board here. Ace 9 I think has to be a call here. God, I ran so badly in this session, by the way. Like, seeing 7s is what, the worst behind 7-8 is the worst hand to see.
That is a terrible turn for our range and an amazing turn for our hand. Because the Jack Deuce is now counterfeit, and we don't have very many combos of Deuce 3. So I'm just going to check the turn, and then I don't know if I'm going to check raise or call.
Ace 9 seems like a very natural check for me. I really couldn't do anything in this session. It felt like just getting absolutely pummeled.
I want to check. I'm thinking about block and stuff, but like, I want to check. And then I'm going to rip it in his face. Rip it in his face.
I think this has to be a value bet here. If I get shoved into, I get shoved into. But yeah, otherwise I really lack value, especially with a spade. I think it's a mix, and I'm just going to go for the bets here. I think actually this is probably a bad bet in reality. because I don't think I'm going to get bluff caught enough. So I regret this bet. I think this is a bad bet exploitatively here. I don't trust Sebastian to bluff catch me enough.
I mean, he might be thinking that he just like beats all give ups, and so he's gonna check, but he can't check back an ace, and if he checks back a jack, I got fucked, but I don't think he does. And as usual, we just fucking have the best hand, because of course we do. We bet just to put pressure in here on a jam.
Based on a small sample, I've been shoved into a lot, but I think that's just variance. Again, I get shoved into. So now I have blockers to some flushes, although does he really shove a flush at this point? Yes, he does. Do I block the ace-3? Yes. So my blockers are very, very good here. I'm going to talk myself into another call. I don't know. We'll call half the time here. Rolled fold this time. Nice bluff if you did it. Like I said, I think my bet is bad there. It's a bit short-term variance to judge if he's got bluffs because I've just seen value every time, so I really can't judge on that one.
Yeah, so on the flop, my approach is going to be to check raise a lot of deuce 3 suited and jack 3 suited, but not very much jack deuce, and probably check raise queen jack or king jack that gets to the flop most of the time, or at least half the time. I noticed you were c-betting at a higher frequency on average than I would have assumed solver was as well. So I was trying to go a little bit lighter in my check raises, although it didn't. That was more an idea than it was something that manifested. There was one middle pair I check raised, but not a lot. Yeah, so I mean, this hand could check call sometimes, but I would say at least half the time should check raise. And turn, my heuristic is just that when the board pairs, it's quite bad for my range. If I had jack deuce, it would be counterfeited, and there's just very few combos now that I'm representing. So I'm going to check very high frequency on the turn. And then again, we have this spot where river, it becomes unclear what's best. And I just decided that on the river, you're just going to, again, I sort of used the thought process of how much will he reopen, and I decided that it would be very high frequency. Because ace-4, ace-5, both improved to top pair, which I assumed would reopen. Jack-X, it's difficult to find a turn check with, and flushes will improve as well. So, and 5-4 improves. And then if you have 6-high, I think you'll reopen as well if you have something like 6-5. So I just assumed you would reopen, and then that's how I found the check jam. But again, you are one step ahead of me, because I think when we play back the video, you're in pain about reopening top pair. So
yeah, the main problem that I have is humans bluff catching the situation, because I don't they will not bluff catch. I don't think they're ever supposed to bluff catch a hand that's worse than a jack, so I don't really see how they have their hand anyway. And a jack is typically going to bet the turn very often, because I don't have those. I don't think humans find enough check raises with jack 4, jack 5, jack 6, jack 7. It's more, I mean, even as you mentioned, you're kind of doing king jack, queen jack and calling it a day. So those hands usually just barrel the turn relentlessly, and then we arrive in the situation where if I check back, I win a lot, but if I bet, I need you to call worse more than half the time, which I think is very unlikely from a human perspective. So yeah, that was what was causing me some agony. And as soon as I bet, even before you shoved, I was like, I don't think this is a good bet here. I think what's going to happen is you're going to fold a lot, you're going to hardly ever call, and then you're going to shove the remainder. And I think, therefore, my hand, in theory, is probably fine. In practice, I think it's a very astute check, which I didn't find. Almost found it.